Greetings, people. It's Mr. Pull the Trigger yet again on another episode of the Enlightenment series. We are back again. I'm going to do 3 episodes. Please, can you pardon my voice? I kind of have a sore throat or something, but whenever you hear my vocal cords alternating high, low pitch, and stuff like that, just know that I'm dealing with the situation. But that cannot stop us from pulling the trigger. Like I was saying, on this episode, it's part 1 of 3. The 3rd episode is going to be explosive. There's something that I want to bring forth for you that will answer all the questions concerning the involvement of God's love, and also answer the questions as to, are the charges that have been laid on God's love legit, or they are fake, or they were just fabricated or cooked behind the scenes so that they can have a case on Ruth Matthew, since they realize that the current case that they have on Ruth Matthew does not hold any water. Because right now they are taking Ruth to court, they're harassing Ruth in court. Every time Ruth goes to court, there will be a bus of Mercy City members taking pictures of Ruth, mocking Ruth, insulting Ruth, gathering around the car that Ruth will be using, and doing all sorts of harassment towards Ruth, just so that they can try to break her spirit, kill her morale, and thinking that they can maybe get to a point whereby tomorrow Ruth will say, I can't go there, I'm afraid. But one thing I can tell them is, especially to Omoto, Ruth's safety must be your top priority. If a fly lands on Ruth's Matthew, you will see fire coming from those man-made mountains that you have erected in the land of Mercy City. Let nothing happen to that woman. Protect that woman at whatever costs. So when you deploy these bandits of yours, these minions of yours, to go and harass Ruth, they're not going to touch it. This is one thing I can promise you. That woman is untouchable. She's off limits, off your boundaries. A single thing happens to that woman, I'll come to Nigeria. I'll meet you first, one-on-one in Mercy City. We'll see who is the God of Omoto and who's the God of Mr. Pull the Trigger. So like I was saying, don't ever think that it's a coincidence that they brought up this issue of God's love. It was a well-calculated strategy which is doomed to fail at the end of the day. Because Ruth is showing up in court. She's appearing in court, defending herself, because the police actually, the prosecutors are actually suing Ruth for falsifying allegations against Jeremiah Omoto of a missing child. It's actually the state that is suing Ruth Matthew, not Jeremiah Omoto in his capacity. Omoto is now coming to try to sue Ruth and align Ruth and attach Ruth together with God's love under the blackmailing charges. That's why they've taken so long for them to reach a verdict concerning the case of God's love, because they do not have sufficient evidence. They cooked the whole thing up, trying to pile it up and lay everything on Ruth so that she can be frustrated, so that we can be frustrated, with court cases, with lawsuits and stuff like that. But one thing I can assure Omoto is, we are ready, Baba. For the next 10 years, 20 years, we can be in court, no problem. But baby testimony has to come out. You feel your character has been defamed? What character has been defamed there? We have a child that is missing, that went missing at Mercy City. How are we defaming your character? All we are doing is asking you some certain questions, pertinent questions, which are in alignment with the missing of this child. If this child had been abducted from my premises, I would be held responsible and accountable. So he realizes that he does not have a case. When it comes to this one of suing Ruth for defamation of character, that is a case which is already watered down the drain. He stands no chance. It's a win-win, and he knows it. So the only way that he can try to manipulate that case is to bring more cases. That's why he has been doing too much damage control, bringing different women to come and pretend as if they are dumping their kids at Mercy City, so that when he comes to court, he can say, Your Highness or Your Honor, this thing of kids missing at church, it has been happening often. And most of the time it has been happening. These kids are being planted. These are people that want to extort money and blackmail the billionaire prophet. That was the whole motive behind all this damage control and all these RNGs that he has been trying to do. And the media propaganda, he wanted to shake this small city of Delta, the Delta state, the Wari community, so that everyone within Wari can be talking that, God's love, he connived with Ruth Matthew, he connived with Prof X. So everything that they're saying about the missing child, it's all falsified information. It was all calculated. And it's not a coincidence again that God's love second appearance or third appearance in court is on the 21st of June. When Ruth Matthews' appearance is on the 20th of June. Do you see how they cook things, how they try to manipulate facts and figures just so that they can have an outcome that is favorable to them? But it's unfortunately for them, in this era of Mr. Pull the Trigger, there's no such kind of nonsense that will ever be tolerated, especially when it comes to the case of baby testimony. Jeremiah Omoto, there's no any amount of damage control that can get you out of this one. All we need you to do is to answer and tell us what happened. Give us an account. You're not sitting on a high horse, my brother. Come down from wherever you have put yourself, from the pedestal you have put yourself on. And come, let's reason together. Let's talk like real men and explain to the world what happened to baby testimony. That's the biggest question that we have from Mr. Omoto for fame. And what happened to the CCTV footage of that particular day? This thing of you telling us that the CCTV footages were not working, come on. It's not going to sell. We're not going to buy that nonsense. So the purpose of this particular episode is, who did God's love contact first between me and Jeremiah Omoto's team? Who did he contact first? It's very important to establish that fact because it's going to make it easier for us to understand the third episode of this three series episode that I'm doing. Who did God's love contact first between me and Jeremiah Omoto? I'll play this video first, which was highlighted by the Damasis, where they were also asking the same question. And they were given proof by Jeremiah Omoto's people, which is showing the actual date which God's love contacted the Omoto's team. We are still under the assumption that he contacted them. But there are a few things that we will need to point out. And there's something very exciting that I'll bring for you on the third episode. So watch this short snippet. And the other question is, did he contact me first or did he contact Jeremiah Omoto's team first?
Professor, thank you. You always pass public question to us. Not everybody that can reply, but that masses, based on the master of Aproko, is yet to reply. This was the date Prophetess Grace posted, and she tagged me because we were asking for who contacted each other first. Is it they are the one that contacted the man, or is the man that contacted them? Which date and which month? Prof X, look at what Prophetess Grace post. This is March 27. When did Godslove contacted you? This is, you pass us a question, we don't have answer to your question, but Prophetess Grace said she have an answer to your question. That this is her own reply. That not she said she talk about, now this message I take the reply. I understand that this message I take the reply due to this screenshot. My screenshot say this person message them March 27, 2022. So automatically she have answered that this was the month this person contacted them. So it's not left for Prophet to also tell us this was the month Godslove contacted him, or they start communicating. So we'll be expecting that video from you too, Mr. Pull the Trigger. Okay, I believe Prophetess Grace just reply you now. He just reply you that this was the month, this was the date, this is the conversation, this is everything. I believe you will also give us your own part of the story too. Now you will also tell us, then you will now do your plus and minus. If he contacted you first or he contacted them first. So let also get your own fat and oil from your own part of, from your own views and from your own angle. So let's continue.
My Omoto's team first. Can they prove with substantial evidence that Godslove contacted them first?
Prof X, this is the video. I know this is what Onagosisa Solution House of God Ministry. This is what Prophetess Grace posted, which I think it was a day ago she posted it, but on a saying when I take screenshot I now, I screenshot it 7:48 today, about a minute, a few minutes ago. Not take screenshot I now 7:48 p.m. Not take screenshot just now. So the question you are asking now, this is the answer. With Mona Lisa, bless on and all year what you talk with my can I go back so that I go understand. Okay.
Through God's love, as they claim, it was going to bring victory. And it was going to exonerate Jeremiah.
Mona Lisa, you know.
And the other question is, did he contact me first, or did he contact Jeremiah Omoto's team first?
Mr. Pull the Trigger, this is what Prophetess Grace posted that this was the date the man, Godslove, contacted them. March 27, 2022. I hope this, I don't know, this is what she posted and she tagged me. You guys can see read the right up. And for those of us who say we find proof, we find evidence and those things, you can go and read it yourself. This is what she posted and she tagged me.
Can they prove with substantial evidence that Godslove contacted them first? So as we have seen from the previous video and the previous proof that has been presented by Jeremiah Omoto's team through the Dadamasses, Godslove contacted Jeremiah Omoto's team on the 27th of March, 2022. I want you to mark this day. I don't know if you can write it somewhere. Please do. It's going to be very important on the third episode. Please mark this day, 27th of March. Even comment below. Before you type your comment, can you just type 27th of March, 2022? I need you to memorize it. Believe you me when I tell you to memorize something. It's very important. That's how important this date is. And this day is the day upon which they say God's love contacted them. But I'm of the belief that they deleted some messages. It was not actually on the 27th. It was before the 27th. I'll explain to you why. I'll break it down to you and explain it to you why I say it was not on the 27th, but it was before the 27th. That is if he indeed contacted them. As you can see from this screenshot, how God's love name is saved. It's saved as Emma. And Emma is for Emmanuel. Like I told you first, I once posted a post about God's love, and then I told people that his name is not God's love. His name is actually Godwin. I don't know why they're using God's love in court. I don't know who they're trying to trick there. When we check this number, the way that the number is registered, it's Emmanuel Godwin. Emmanuel Godwin. Not God's love. There's no God's love on the identity of this gentleman. It's Emmanuel Godwin. That's why Omoto's people actually saved it as Emmanuel, which means they know his name, his actual name. It's even saved as Emma by whoever that Godslove or Godwin was chatting with. But I want you to mark the date, which is the 27th of March, 2022. Now the question comes to Mr. Pull the Trigger. When did God's love contact Mr. Pull the Trigger? It's going to get interesting. Please pay very close attention to details. And one thing I want to suggest from Jeremiah Omoto's team, for them to prove their claims that God's love actually contacted them on the 27th, I want them to prove it through a screen recording kind of content. And the funny thing about it, when this Ashao of Mercy City called Prophetess Disgrace posted this screenshot, she realized that she posted it too soon, prematurely. She went on and then she deleted it from her platform. It's no longer there. Because I also went to check if that proof of this date when God's love contacted them is still there. It's no longer there. They deleted it. She was instructed to delete it. I'll explain to you why they deleted it on the third episode. But still, the question is, when did God's love contact Mr. Pull the Trigger? Okay, I'll do a small, I'll do a short demonstration here. But let me just first put up a screenshot which shows the actual date when God's love actually contacted me. There it is. As you can see from this screenshot, God's love contacted me on the 22nd of April, 2022. On the 22nd of April, 2022. And that's his number there. Anyone that wants to trace this number, you can trace it and you realize that it's registered under Emmanuel Godwin, not Emmanuel Godslove, not Godslove. So to prove that this screenshot is actually real, which was not doctored, let me just do a small demonstration which shows the live interaction of this chat of the first day that Godslove contacted me on the 22nd of what? Of April 2022. Just check this short demonstration, which is my proof that this is the actual date that he contacted me. Greetings, people. So I will not do a screenshot. I'll show you the dashboard of my entire conversation with Godslove. So here's when it started on the 22nd of April 2022. And this is his number. I don't think there's still reason for us to be hiding his number. This is his number. If you can trace this number, if you're in Nigeria, there's one thing that you will realize, that this number is not registered under Godslove. It's registered under Emmanuel Godwin, not Godslove, which also makes me question his identity. So this is the first chat that I had with him. Godslove first sent me a picture, the original picture of baby testimony, which is this one. And then he sent me this other picture, which is the picture of the alleged baby testimony who is in Cameroon. And this all happened when? On the 22nd of April. This is his number. To some of you that would think this is a manipulated thing, as you can see, this is his number. I can call it now to just verify with you. As you can see, I think it's offline now. It's not going to go through. It's just calling. Revoke it. Forget it. Then let's go. So this is the chat that we had with Mr. Godslove. And then he went on to say, Prof, check this out. Is this not testimony? When I contacted you to chat with you, it seems not to be important to you. I asked you to help me with Ruth conduct, but you gave me a deaf ear. But I'm still insisting. I want to talk with Ruth. And please, if you can help, if you can keep the information safe for now, it will be better. Thanks. And then I said, greetings. Then I responded with the picture that he sent. Then I said, he looks exactly like testimony. I asked him, where did you get this picture? He went on to say, can I talk with Ruth? I don't have a number. And please keep the information for now safe. I'll give you more if I talk with Ruth. And then I told him, I'll give you access to Ruth. Don't worry. And then he said, okay, thanks. But please let it be coded for now. Then I responded, but first I need to know your intentions and where are you coming from and the information that you have. And then he went on to say, I have no bad intention. The information I have can be released if I talk with Ruth. I know it will help her bring out the truth about testimony. I have ever wanted to release this information, but no trusted person to do that with. When I came first time, you just ignored me, which is a lie. I don't remember him chatting with me, but insisted because I know how useful the information I have can be of Ruth. And then I said, is your information going to lead us to where testimony is? And then I responded with the lie that he made. And then I said, this is the first time I'm talking to you. So let me end it here so that we don't review everything we spoke about for a later stage. I just meant to show you and demonstrate to you that this is the first conversation, the initial conversation that I had with Godslove on the 22nd of April 2022, which is a month after he had already contacted the Omotos as they claim. But this is my test, my other challenge to the Omotos. Can they give us this kind of proof? Can they screen record the conversation that they had with Godslove as proof of their evidence? This is proof of my evidence that the first date I started chatting with Godslove was on the 22nd of April. So go on and finish watching the video that you have to. So, as you have observed from the previous screen recording that I did, it was indeed on the 22nd of April, which is actually a month or less after he had contacted Jeremiah Omoto's team. There's so much to this, so much that I do not want you to miss. But before you think too much ahead, I want you to keep your thinking a little bit behind. Let's analyze this information first. Let's analyze it first. He contacted the Omotos in March, around 27th of March, and they gave him 1.1 million naira, 1.3 million naira. Because when he contacted them, according to them, he had promised them that he's going to find baby testimony for them. He's going to find baby testimony so that he can prove it to them that it's not them that are responsible for the missing child. And Omoto gave this guy 1.1 million or 1.3 million to go on an expedition to rescue baby testimony. So the question that we have for Jeremiah Omoto is, so someone just approached you, told you they know where testimony is, and you give them money straight up without thinking, without having any form of security that can guarantee you that they are going to return. They are not scammers. Omoto, you are a better scammer than this guy. I doubt that you can just give away money like that, so easy like that. To say, okay, take 1.3 million, go look for baby testimony, bring him back when you find him. If this was true, that Jeremiah Omoto was blackmailed, I doubt it's true. He was never blackmailed. They did not give Godslove any money. This is a fabricated story. Jeremiah Omoto will never give someone 1.3 million. Someone that they've not met before. Someone that they do not know. And say, go and look for testimony without any form of security. Godslove came to me, demanded money. I did not give him because I did not have security. And I'm not a scammer. What more of scammers in Messi City? The likes of Omoto and his entire team. Do you think they'll fall prey to this coming of Godslove if Godslove was scamming them? People, let's think. Let's deliberate on the authenticity of the charges that are being laid on Godslove. That is, if Godslove and Jeremiah Omoto are not in this together, if they are not doing this together. The other thing I want you to look at, if Godslove indeed contacted them and it did not work, Godslove did not bring forth a baby testimony, and they realized that they were scammed, they brought Godslove to them and say, okay, how can we make this work for our favor? Let's try to trick Prof X and Ruth Matthew. Let's find a way we can implicate them with Godslove, because that's the only time they can have a case to say Godslove connived with Prof X, connived with Ruth Matthew to blackmail Jeremiah Omoto. Do you get where I'm coming from? The fact that he contacted them first. What transpired between the time Godslove contacted the Omoto's team and the time he contacted me? Remember, before I gave him access to Ruth, he contacted me first. He did not get Ruth's contact through the internet. He got my contact, he texted me, he told me what he told me, sent me pictures. And then when I was a little bit in belief that these pictures, they really look legit, they really look like baby testimony, I did not want to waste time. I said, okay, I'll give you access to Ruth. To Ruth, he tried to manipulate Ruth. He tried to extort Ruth. He tried to get money from Ruth. He did not get anything. Then they realized that the plan is not really going as planned. So do you think Godslove was actually apprehended after he contacted us? Or Godslove was actually working together with them, trying to set me up and set Ruth Matthew up? So is this court case legit? Or they're just trying to trump charges on Ruth Matthew so that it can distract the actual case of baby testimony? Ruth Matthew is showing up on the 20th of June, a day from now, and Godslove case is coming up again a day after. What are they planning? What are they thinking? What are they up to? Lies upon lies. People, think through it. Tell me what you think in the comment section. I know you have so many brilliant ideas and you have so many brilliant opinions. Let's think through this together and wait for part 2. The final one, the part 3, is going to amaze you as we connect those together. I know we can, and I know you can. We got this. Let's open up this man called Omoto for fame. Let's crack him open. We don't hate him. We love him so much. Let's pray for him as well, so that he depart from this falsehood that he's living in. And the most important of all, let's pray for baby testimony. Let's pray for baby testimony's justice, so that he can be reunited with the mother. The mother is suffering right now. She's going up and down court cases, defending herself. Imagine a victim defending herself from the oppressor. That's the situation, the current situation in Nigeria. But with that being said, let me know what you think. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to like, to subscribe. It's Mr. Pull the Trigger. I'm out.